Today we're reviewing a Martin Special X Macassar edition. This is made from high pressure laminate. This is Macassar wood on the top, the sides and the back, and the back of the neck in particular is really cool. It's compressed wood. My understanding is that the fretboard here is ebony, which is a huge plus for me. I'm a huge fan of ebony on a fretboard. Just really like the dark look and the way it makes the inlays pop. So this is a really good guitar. It's one of Martin's more affordable ones. This is like a $500 guitar. And I bought one of these 2 years ago, pretty much right when I discovered them. So it's been really good for me. It has a built-in Fishman pickup, and there is a tone knob and a volume knob, which is nice because I have a Gibson J45 and it only has a volume knob, no tone controls. Some things you need to look out for. You're probably going to need to get the nut worked on because they're just a little bit too tight for the strings, and that can cause some tuning issues. I've actually broken 2 strings just trying to take old strings off, and they snap right here because the area that the string has to pass through is so tight that it's actually cutting the strings. So either get a professional setup or look up some YouTube videos on how to file the nut, make it a little wider and smoother. I bought this guitar because I'd been playing a Gibson J45 for a long time, and the way that I play is kind of hard. I'm kind of from the school of Weezer, the school of Green Day, Pearl Jam and all that, and I play kind of hard, and I needed something that was a darker wood to absorb some of the shock of my strumming. I like to treat the acoustic kind of like a percussive instrument, so I kind of beat on it pretty hard, and what that does with most guitars is cause this nasty, stringy, jangly sound. But some of the mahogany bodies seem to have a dark enough wood that they're bassier, and they kind of absorb that. So if you're a rocker on an acoustic, then you might like a guitar like this. I played a lot of guitars, and this guitar to me sounds far above its class. I mean, this sounds like a $1,000 guitar to me. The only other one that rivals it is Martin's other mahogany. I think it's either a D10, I think it's a D10. And I almost bought that, but I went with this because I just love the ebony. And I like the back of the neck too. That guitar was like an $800 guitar, and this one was like a $500 guitar. So their performance is about the same. I thought, wow, this is a deal. One thing you might want to note is when you take it home, you probably need to have a humidifier. I did have a problem. It played perfect when I got it, and I did buy it in November, so it was starting to get cold, and I'm living in Kansas. And after 3 or 4 weeks, I had really bad fret buzz up here when I was playing down here. So I adjusted the neck and nothing happened, and I took it to the guitar shop, and he told me that these hard, high-pressure compressed necks, they're really strong, but they take a longer time to settle in. So what I did was I upgraded my humidifier in my guitar room. I was using a small one, but it was running as hard as it could, and it was only able to keep the humidity at 30%. So I went and I bought one that was twice as big, because you really need to get your room to about 50%, maybe even 60%. And mine has a sensor in it. So I bought that, and then I hung the guitar in its case with a humidifier in there. And after like a month or 6 weeks or so, the guitar was back to normal. But for a while there, it was very difficult to play. And we tried to shim down here, but it's difficult to put a shim underneath the bridge without preventing some contact from the pickup. So we tried that, and we just couldn't get it right because I kept losing the high E string in my pickup. Like I'd be playing and all the strings would come through except the high E, and we just couldn't get that shim to fit right. So my recommendation is you don't need to raise your bridge if that happens. You just need to climate control your room a little bit. So let's play some more. Let's try some finger picking. Now I did just put a brand new set of Elixir Phosphor Bronze strings on here, and it's a little bit bright. After these strings get broken in a little bit, this guitar would sound a little bit darker, but I think this guitar has more bass than most guitars in its class, which is part of the reason I was drawn to it. So when you're palm muting, you can get it to sound really chunky. Like one thing that's kind of funny about this guitar is in terms of the craftsmanship, there is a tiny gap right here. I took a picture of it so you could see it better, but they actually didn't fill that. Like there's literally a hole there. You can't see all the way through the guitar, but you can see like into it. And it's because the edge here is kind of contoured, but I'm not sure why they didn't fill that. That's kind of a stupid thing because it's literally tiny, but that kind of bothered me at first. I was like, but then if they're gonna cut corners, I'd rather it sound and feel good than have all these little frills, but the rest of it is amazing. This is a satin finish, kind of a matte finish on top and the sides, and I think that looks really nice. I think I prefer that over the gloss finish because this does not show a lot of smudges and things like that. So I bought this guitar a couple years ago, and then I immediately took it down to Austin to play a gig, and it was awesome. It feels really good. This is a great, cheaper Martin that you could take on the road with you and not worry about it. Like my Gibson J45, I worry about taking it and leaving it in the car and dealing with the weather and things like that. But I don't have to worry about this one as much, so that's nice. It comes with a pretty nice backpack case, but it doesn't have a hard shell case. It's a really thick, really nice soft shell case. The tuners are pretty good. I think these would be fine to leave stock. I think I'd just file that nut down a little bit. This guitar's sound is a little bit different than my other guitars because it does seem to have like a little bit of natural mids scooped out. It is more highs and lows, less mids. My Gibson is very evenly balanced all the way through, and it has a much more pronounced mid-range. I'm not really a big fan of the built-in acoustics. Maybe that's one way I would upgrade this, but I really don't like most direct lines on guitars. I'll play for you and you can just hear what the guitar sounds direct. But yeah, I don't even like the direct line in my J45, so that's not really a surprise. I highly recommend this guitar. I mean, if you're looking for a guitar that is professional quality but is cheaper, I would go with one of these. It also comes in a grand concert shape and a smaller shape. I think it's a parlor size guitar. I'm not 100% sure, but that's the cheapest one. And they're all good. I like the Dreadnought the best because I like that big boomy body. You lose just a little of that going to the grand concert style, but it does have the cutaway, so that's nice. All right, if you're thinking about buying this guitar, there's a link in the video description. And now I'm going to play it for a while. I'll play some different styles so you can get a full idea of its range and possible tones. If you own this guitar, let me know what you think of it in the comments. If you're thinking about buying it and you have any questions, just drop them in the comments and I'll try to answer them. If you want to see some more guitar demos and pedal demos or just some cool guitar videos, hit subscribe and we'll see you next time.